Hi, Lance.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is. Hey, Brittany.
How's it going?
Good.
Can you start by introducing yourself and what you do?
My name is Lance Welch. What I do, a lot of different things. As far as profession, I am a business coach, legacy coach, author, husband. I'd be 38 years the 1st of January. It's a long time. Father of 3.
Yeah.
Grandfather of 2.
So awesome. What have you learned in God's character through this work and all of the many hats that you're wearing?
Oh, man, the biggest one is just he's faithful. Doesn't matter really what role you're in. He's been there, done that. Nothing surprises him. So he's faithful.
So good. What do you feel like God's teaching you in this season?
Trust more than anything else. Going through a lot of things. There's got several businesses. A couple are going fantastic. One is not going well at all. And he's faithful in all of it. And when you look at my whiteboard in my office, there was one word that I wrote down multiple times last December, so about a year ago. And it didn't dawn on me until a few weeks back. I really felt like God was challenging me to trust him. And I look over on the whiteboard and the word trust is written on there about 12 to 15 times. So it's like God knew then that the thing that I was going to have to really learn this year is trust. And what's amazing is if someone would have said I needed to trust him, I would have said, I am. Or are you really pursuing God? I would have said, I am. But it's amazing when you really feel like you're backed into a corner, what your level of pursuit really begins to look like. And then the question for me is, why wasn't I doing that before?
It's all good. Man. This is a great question following up what you just said. Have you ever had to surrender something you've built only to see God redeem it later?
Oh, man. My first thought was business-wise or ideas, roles and responsibilities. But on the heels of that came something that was, I got to believe it was God because I wouldn't have thought of it this way. I'd have to say my boys.
Yeah.
Built them.
Yeah.
Created them, had to surrender them, let them walk their path. And now I'm watching them redeem them. So, yeah.
It's really beautiful. What were the things that came out of you during that process of letting them go, just to put them into God's hands?
Oh, man, I have a tendency to want to be in control. And whether it's a guide idea for business or you're raising future priests and kings, being able to honestly let go and not be in control, that's a really hard role. And we were talking off camera. It's like when you start watching your upper teens and young adults make decisions that through your wisdom, experience, training, whatever, it's not a great choice, and you're not in control. And we were talking. It's unsolicited advice comes across as criticism, and being able to honestly learn how to keep your mouth shut, unless it's a catastrophic life or death type thing. Being able to keep your mouth shut, that was probably one of the hardest things that we as parents, Allison and I both, have had to learn.
Yeah, that's so good. How have you navigated seasons of doubt or waiting or even uncertainty? Like, how have you really trusted what God's told you prophetically or even, what he's wanted to do with your life? And how have you sat in the middle of your reality looking different than that?
Yeah. I would say I'm probably not the greatest student of that. I am not patient by nature and constantly feel like it's my responsibility to help God out. There was a phrase that wife and I, we've coined a lot of different phrases just to help each other get through things. But one of them was, I called it the spirit of self-sufficiency. I would have been praying, seeking God, and at the same time thinking, all I have to do is work a little harder. I have to try harder. I got to make more calls. I got to go see more people. And so all the while when I'm praying about it, I'm taking much of the matter in my own hands. So as far as what we're learning or what I'm learning is, God's word is enough. It is sufficient. And I think over this last season where, again, one of these companies isn't doing well, it has forced me into the word more than I ever have. And I'm learning that God's word is literal. If he says, I will supply all of your needs according to my riches and glory, that's enough. I don't have to see it in the bank account. I don't have to get the emotional feels. I love for that. I ask him I don't want to feel your presence, but he says he's with us always. He's never going to leave or forsake us. So he's there already. That has to be enough. That's what I'm saying. The word has to be enough. I choose to allow the word to be enough. I ask that I can feel it or that I can see it. But if he's given me a picture of something and it hadn't happened yet, that has to be enough as well, which comes back to what we were talking about earlier is I got to trust him.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. What do you believe your story prophesies or speaks to others in their own life? How do you feel like your testimony changes the people around you?
Well, it's not done.
Yeah.
The story is nowhere near over. But, as you'd ask me what I do as a business coach, that's what I do that allows me to, impact people, impact their business. People hire me to help them scale their business or, increase their revenue, reduce their hours. But usually within a few weeks, we're talking as much about how do I become a better husband or a better father as we are business things. And so I get the opportunity and have a front row seat in watching transformational things take place because business success, it should not come at the expense of family success. It's not either or, it's and both. And I do, because of what I get to do, I get to see it firsthand. But, our real passion is to equip families to transition from active parenting to empty nest and to help, sound the alarm of what happens at empty nest. A lot of people aren't aware of it. And we were talking about earlier, people are not aware that really what happens. And the old adage, it doesn't matter till it matters to me, is really relevant when we start talking about parenting. Our real passion is to equip families to succeed. And, we've got a podcast called Beyond the Nest that allows us to speak to families. It's an expense, more of an investment, but it doesn't pay the bills. All of the coaching allows us the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, I love that. What do you think God's saying over this city or over the people he's raising up right now? Like if you could be the father to the even the younger generation that we were talking about, the youth kids that are coming in and wanting to maybe do business, what do you want to speak to them, or what do you feel like God's saying over them as their next mantle to carry?
Yeah. Philippians 4:19, supplying all of my needs. 4:13, I can do all things through Christ. It's I believe when God gives you a picture of something, it doesn't mean that it's just going to happen automatically. There's still work that you got to put into it. There's still effort. There's a fine line between me doing all the work, taking all the credit, and just having a clear directive of what does he want me to do and trusting that he's going to supply the resources. There's so many people that, we talk to, well, if God wants it to happen, it's going to happen. Well, they negate the work part, the effort part, take initiative part. He partners with us. It's, forget where it is, but it says he gives me the ability to create wealth. He's not just going to put money in the account. I mean, he can do anything, but that verse right there says he gives me an ability. He's given me gifts, talents, abilities, work ethics. So the thing I would encourage this next generation is get a clear picture of what does God want you to do, and then seek his face, find out how does he want you to do it? Are there resources they haven't tapped into? Are there creative ideas that he's going to give them? Are there mentors that they could partner up with? Mm-hmm. So I guess that would be my answer.
Good. You talked about having this particular personality that you're always wanting to move the needle forward, feeling like you have to help God out. And there's an element of that you just talked about with like, he gives us the ability to create wealth. But how have you found the balance between that and you don't need my help to fulfill the word that you've given me? Like, how do you find the balance between this is my portion and this is your portion, and I'm going to let you be God and sovereign and do the good work, knowing that my goal is only obedience? But how have you navigated that tension?
I'm trying to think who it was. It was someone on Dave Balestri's team that had given what I thought was really good advice. When someone gives him a prophetic word, he makes note of it, but he doesn't put a date on it. Because what we tend to do is if someone gives us a word, we feel like, okay, this is going to happen maybe next week. And then when it doesn't, well, maybe next month. And then if it doesn't, well, we talked about it, hope deferred makes the heart sick. And so one of the things that this guy gave a recommendation of, write down the word, ask for confirmation of the word, but don't date it, because he will give you direction, give you a word, but he doesn't always give you the timeline on it. And so that has really helped me to be able to not make it in my timeline and just trust that it was from him, especially if it's been confirmed, and then do what I know to do what only I can do, but truly trust the outcome and the timing to him.
It's really good. In learning trust in this season, what are some tools that you feel like you could equip the listeners with in trust? What are some practicals that you found to be
This
helpful?
isn't a real popular answer.
I like it.
Study the word. Memorize the word. When we are backed into a corner, when we are dealing with the emotional side of things, we don't always think the clearest. We don't typically make the best decisions when it's a high stress moment. And at that point, it's out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So when, I think about some of the verses that have really, really, I'd say, ministered to me, all of Psalms 23, 1-6. That has become a staple. Isaiah 54, 17? No weapon formed against me is going to prosper. And every voice or tongue that rises up against me, you know what it says? It says, I will cast it down. Doesn't say he will. He says, I will cast it down. I am to be the one that casts it down, because that's my heritage as a servant of the Lord. So there's certain verses now that have become mainstay. They're just a daily staple. And I've gotten into a habit of just walking around in my backyard. There's now a trail in my backyard, because I have gotten so passionate about spending time with him. And what was interesting is in one of the men's groups I was going to, they were said I'll clean it up from what he said, but he said it's a shame men have to get their butt in a grinder before they really pursue God. And as if I were, and I immediately thought about walking my backyard. I've lived in this house for 8 years. Never once did I walk around to the backyard to the point where I wore a trail into the yard. But if you would have asked me, was I pursuing God? I would have said, absolutely. But my butt's in a grinder on some things. And now I'm taking it very serious about the pursuit of his word, and his word will be enough.
It's incredible. If someone's looking for a mentor or a business coach in this season, what are some things you would tell them to look for?
Oh, man. Ideally, somebody that is at least a decade of experience beyond you. That doesn't mean they're a decade older than you, but maybe they've been in their lane longer. Somebody who loves you enough to tell you the truth, and that you trust them. I'm taken back 35 years. But there was a guy, he was only probably 3 or 4 years older than me, but he would be about a decade down the road as far as his spiritual maturity. And he was a great tennis player. He was teaching me the sport. We ended up driving back to my house, sitting in the driveway, and he goes, "Hey, can I tell you something? You might want to beep this one out." But I go, "Yeah, solid brother, one of my best friends still to this day." He goes, hey, can I tell you something? I said, sure. I'm thinking tennis, basketball, something sports. He said, yeah, you're being a real ass to your wife. And I had the same look you just had. I'm like, who do you think you are? Walls came up immediately. I didn't want to hear it. I didn't see him as a mentor because in that point in my life, I didn't need a mentor. I didn't need anybody. I was capable of carrying my load, taking care of my family. It really ticked me off when he said that. And he could tell. He said, I'm sorry I offended you. He said, I just want you to know I love you. And I'm thinking, no, you don't. You wouldn't talk to me that way if you did. I love you. And if you ever need me, he goes, I don't care if it's 2 a.m., you call me. All right, well, don't hold your breath. I won't need you. Arrogant, 23 something, 24. Ironically, about 2 weeks later, we were having a fight started at 10:30. It just went on and on and on. I ended up punching a hole in the sheetrock. I was so mad. I looked over at the clock. Guess what time it was? 2:02. I called him, put him to the test. He was at my house in about 5 minutes. That is the kind of a person you want in your life. They will tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. They've got a little bit more maturity and experience on them that they can handle your workload. They can handle your emotional outbursts. So if you're serious about having a mentor, you're going to trust that person and you're going to give them full access.
I love that. I need to think about some of the mentors in my life. That's so awesome. Is there anything else that you want this next generation or even anyone in there that's like building a business right now to know?
Yeah, I would definitely encourage this younger generation to recognize that it pays to be in the right room. I think so many times, and I see this, unfortunately, I see this more in the church than anywhere else, that they are not willing to pay to be in the right room. They, whether it's a culture that we've brought up, somehow we've fed or created this machine that because it's church, everything should be free. And my experience is if we don't pay attention as well. When I have invested in a coach or in a mastermind or an event to go to, I am truly invested. I pay a whole lot more attention. I take a lot more notes. I'm not going to just let the money that I've put into this be for just that event. So my encouragement to the next gen business owners is don't be afraid to invest in your own personal growth. It could be books. If you don't want to hire a coach, get the right books. And I've got a ton of books based upon the situation you're in. I can recommend a ton of good books and a lot of people can. But that would be my number one piece of advice is hire someone or go to an event that can help shorten your learning curve from maybe years down to months. Because that's what I get to do at almost 60. I've seen a lot of things, and I am convinced at this point that if we're working together, not just promote, it's any coach that knows their stuff, they will condense decades of learning into years or years of learning into months and make the road a lot smoother.